sex, life, and tech. If you're 21 or 101, we love them all. Welcome to Age Blind with Nancy AF.
Hey, boys and girls. Welcome to Age Blind, where the date on your birth certificate means shit. And we really focus on what we have in common as opposed to what divides us, which to me is like the most important thing as a woman who is almost 70 and still kind of struggling to remain relevant in what has become a very youthified world. So let's just take the birth certificate date off the table. I don't care how old you are. All I think about is what brings us together. Our theme this month is back to school. And I am a good teacher. This is actually my real ruler from when I was in grade school. I have no idea why I kept it, but I did. And this is my other prop, which is the school bus. I didn't take a school bus to school. I took public transportation because I grew up in an era where parents just dumped their kids and said, figure it all out, which I do think built great intestinal fortitude. So I have a really, really cool group of people today, and I am going to start with Nikki. Each of you can talk about what your name is, even though it's on the screen. Some of the listeners may just be doing the audio. What do you do for a living? And then you'll get a chance later to talk about how people can find you. And most important, how you met me. So hit it, Nikki.
Hi, my name is Nikki or Nicole Amajay, and I own two companies. One is called The Cookie Cups. We make baking and cooking kits for kids. I also own Pitch Peach, which is the first membership platform for PR.
Cool. Eric.
Yeah, hi there. My name's Eric Miller. My day job is I'm a co-owner of a mechanical engineering company. We help people design and build products and sell software that engineers use. So very nerdy and techy. Besides that, I'm working to be labeled as the tech ecosystem gadfly, but I'm finding that people under 50 don't know what gadfly means. But the goal is really to help and promote the local tech ecosystem, working with the Arizona Technology Council and Arizona Commerce Authority, and then also writing regular column in the Phoenix Business Journal. And I met Nancy through the Tech Council. When she moved to Phoenix, she tried to, you tried to integrate with the ecosystem, and it was a little bit of a square peg in a round hole. Not your fault. It was the ecosystem's fault.
Daniela's even more square than I am. So let's just go around the table so we can get the main discussion. I met Nikki when I was living in Minnesota and I needed to make friends. And she and I connected. She had lived in New York. She was my publicist for a while. I was at her wedding. I've seen the birth of her, haven't physically seen the birth of her kids, but we've kind of grown up together. I've known each other for roughly 9 years, which in this day and age is like a lifelong friendship. Daniela, your turn.
Hello, Daniela Santangelo. I am the founder of Freeway Phoenix. I'm a serial entrepreneur. It's my second time going at it. And really my mission is to help create accessibility in Phoenix in an interior market. I spent some time in San Francisco and Miami. I'm happy to be back in Arizona for my second time and really want to help build the tech talent nucleus so that founders here have what they need: capital, talent, and community to stay, build, and exit in Phoenix. I'm also an angel investor. I'm a single mom of two. So yeah, my life is pretty crazy. Happy to be here. And I met Nancy at the Henry at an ASU Invest U happy hour. We had instant connection. East Coaster. I grew up in Connecticut, so we instantly connected. And yeah, looking forward to the discussion.
Cool. And Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hill. I own a digital marketing agency called Bobby Media. Before this, I was running a company called Bookster where I grew their audience there to over 4 million people. And yeah, we do a ton of production work here in New York City. I also write on the side. So I have a book coming out in December that's called Chat Shit Crazy, a very human guide to improving your life with ChatGPT. And then I have a script right now that I'm pushing out as well. So yeah, day in the life. I have a lot of fun here. I know Nancy we were connected through a digital platform, of course, like all the great relationships in my life. And yeah, happy to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah. And Adrian, I think we connected through that same digital platform.
Yeah, I guess it's saved the best for last. Hey, everybody. I am Adrienne Alexander. I am the owner of IPY Agency Public Relations. I've been doing PR for about 20 years. But in addition to that, I am certified in conflict resolution and conflict management. And I'm also an etiquette coach. Yes, shout out to Quoted. Met Nancy. I have, oh, this is a great testament to Quoted. I have all of my clients and myself listed on Quoted, but then when I saw the query for this, I was like, oh, I'm age blind. I can talk about this kind of stuff. So that's
Yeah,
what.
I actually just put up another post on Quoted. It's QWOTED. And Adrienne and I were just talking about how a lot of podcasts now have become pay for play, where you actually have to pay the host to be on the podcast. And also PR placements sometimes are pay for play. And so I think people have gotten very skittish about answering pitches that are on there. But my appearances and sources are all free for those listeners who are thinking of signing up. It's a great place to find PR opportunities, as Adrienne and Nikki will attest. So, so in keeping with our back to school theme, what I really wanted to talk about, and as somebody, as I said, who's almost 70 years old and I spend about 10% of my time looking in my rearview mirror and 90% of my time looking into the future. One of the things that I do often think about is, what knowledge have I gained in those 7 trips around the sun that have made me a better person, and things that I wish I knew when I was younger that I know now. And this is especially relevant because today, everything that could go wrong did go wrong this morning. And the 18-year-old me would have, or even the 48-year-old me or the 58-year-old me probably would have had a freaking meltdown. And I didn't. So, I'll start with my thing, which is that I just know that it always works out in the end, and it's never worth freaking out because it raises your cortisol. It helps you die young or makes you die young. And you can't lose weight when you're stressed out, as I've discovered. So I just lost 30 pounds, and I attribute at least 50% of it to lack of stress and the other 50% to the miracles of GLP-1 inhibitors. So let's just follow the same order. We'll go around the table, or the digital table. Nikki, what's the one thing that you wished you knew then that you know now?
Well, I think it's, similar to what you just said about kind of not overstressing and, especially in business, just kind of playing the long game and not worrying about every single second of every single day. You're going to come across problems constantly, but it's, it's going to be okay. And it's the way that you handle them and move forward that will set you apart from those who get worried and bothered by every moment.
And Nikki has 2 young kids and 2 businesses. So she's like my role model on juggling and keeping your shit together.
Yeah, Nancy always says, whenever she talks to me, she says, just talking to you makes me feel like you're so busy, but knowing, just speaking to you, I can.
Oh, yeah. And it makes me feel like my life is so simple because my parents are gone, my kids are grown, I live alone. I do have multiple businesses too, but I don't have a lot of those life responsibilities that I used to have. Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I think a trend here, it's kind of a similar thing. I guess everybody learns this at some point in their life, is I worried too much about stuff that didn't matter. Right?
Mhm.
It's just got so upset about, things that just were not that important and seemed to me to be the end of the world. And yeah, it helped me back. It held me back a lot from doing things that I should have done. Everything from, I didn't drink till I was 35. Right. And there's absolutely no reason for me to have done that. I missed a lot of good times. I did drive a lot of drunk people home, so I guess that was a positive side of it. But yeah, it was just when I was just afraid. My grandmother was an alcoholic. I was afraid I was going to turn into an alcoholic if I took one drink. Right. This is the kind of overthinking that it took me a long time to.
So your advice is drink, but not too much.
Moderation.
Danielle, what about you?
I can relate to what you all are saying. And I feel like coming at it from a lens of things that I wish I knew at a younger age is how to more fully trust from within and to discern mental chatter and noise and fear compared to your intuition in that voice.
Yep.
Right. And as a single parent of two boys that I think are very emotionally intelligent, I'm trying to teach them that of like, your answers are within, all this external looking for this comparison to that. Screw that. That's, I think, where a lot of this anxiety and stress comes from, in my opinion, is like fully trusting yourself and knowing that your intuition will guide you and to have fun with it.
And stop doom scrolling, because I do really believe that social media and chatter gets in our heads. And I feel so much more emotionally and psychologically stable when I'm not looking at the political news, when I'm not looking at car crash reels. Like I just am detoxing what goes into my eyes and my ears. So great point, Daniela, is really building up that EQ. Sarah, what about you?
Yeah, I really liked these. So I'll put a different spin on it. If I could say something to my younger self, or something that I've really come into as I've aged, would be that no one's going to do it for you. That, like, don't wait. Obviously everyone here has figured that out, but I think if I could say that to myself, it's like you have to kind of build that courage and that bravery and just go ahead and do the thing. No one's gonna do it for you. If you want it in your life, you have to go after it.
Wasn't that something from the Wizard of Oz too, where she told her that she always had the power to go home? I have ruby
Oh,
slippers.
yeah.
There's no
I
place
don't wear them. I have
home.
like miniature ruby slippers in my apartment. So
Oh, I love that.
That's great.
Adrian,
Yeah, I think for me, I would have loved to have leaned in more. It's like reality is a thief of joy. And so it's like sometimes staying in those fantasy places and those worlds where, they don't have to be just so serious all the time. I had this situation. I think I was in middle school at the time, and all of us are of a certain age. I've been wearing glasses for a really long time. I was receiving medical assistance at the time, and so the glasses were always like glasses or frames that nobody really wanted. But I picked up the reddest Sally Jesse Raphael frames that they had in the little case, and man, they picked on me so bad, but I love those frames. And I think that, yeah, it's like it was really leaning into, being yourself, and
thank you.
like
You
not
just
even really
inspired
worrying
me,
about.
Adrian. I
Hmm?
just put mine on. Like
I know, I saw them. That's what I said. So it's like, you see mine now, like, all these big fancy frames. And it was like listening to them try to steal the joy of how my frames were when I was in elementary school. I think that kind of leaned or, like had a lot to do of me toning it down when I was younger. And I would have loved to, stay in that. I mean, I'm back to it now, but I had to relearn that. So I think a lot of people, like as you're younger and I see it. I'm so glad I see it with a lot of our younger people that they are dressing the way that they want to dress. They're wearing their hair the way they want to wear it, not concerned with anybody. And so I love that for them.
love that, Adrian. And we have 6 minutes left. So I'm going to like kind of tear through this. What do you intend to learn in the years ahead? For me, it's learning more AI skills so that I can remain relevant. That's a top priority. I'd like to see more of the country. My insecurities still live on, and I just want to become more confident in who I am as I age. Nikki, what is on your curriculum for the years ahead?
So my future curriculum bucket list, I think, is become better at financial management and also travel. The finance stuff, I mean, just prepare more to create more wealth in the future.
Cool. Eric?
Yeah, really long list, probably 100 different things, but I think the
Limit
one
it
that
to one or
the one thing that I'm focused on is I want to be better at understanding people who think differently than I do.
love that. I just did an episode on neurodivergence, which I think
Mhm.
is live this week. So he's really a therapist who's really good at talking about
Yeah.
dealing with people who are radically different. Daniela,
Yeah, in the coming years, I want to get more rooted in my legacy and my family ancestry, which is mostly located in southern Italy. So, more time out there. I want to create experiences for digital nomads and also people who want to learn more about their legacy and how they can weave that into what they're building, which can live on, beyond themselves.
cool. Sarah,
Yeah, I think, for me, I've spent the last 10 years behind a computer and studying other people's voices, etc. I think for me right now, what I'm really looking forward to is exploring my own voice and kind of chasing after it and seeing what that looks like and sounds like and how I can, you know, how I can express that. And then the other thing would be actually also exploring, getting out from behind a desk, meeting people, and seeing what the world has to offer.
Super important in our post-pandemic world. And Adrian, last but not least, and then for the sake of time, what I would love for you to do is answer that question, and then we're going to go backwards this next time just to make sure you don't get short shrift. What advice would you give a student today, and then how could people reach you?
Yeah, so I have spent the better part of the last 20 years highlighting and helping other people. I've had great success with my clients in PR, and I really want to start branding myself. I do a great job of highlighting and promoting other people. And so I have become more intentional about my voice, kind of like what Sarah said also. And so with this conflict resolution and conflict management, the reason I got back into it is because LinkedIn, it was number 2 on the skills on the ride, conflict mitigation. And so I really want to get into these schools because I feel like our youth, and so this answers that second question also. I feel like a lot that's missing in schools is conflict resolution tools and being able to effectively communicate how you're feeling, what triggers you, like what's going on in your mind. Bullying is a huge issue. And so I feel like if they were given a lot of conflict skills, that some of that we could curb a lot of those behaviors. And so to that end, the way you can find me, Adrienne, spelled ADRIENNE, dalexander.com is my website. You can follow me on Instagram at I'm Promoting You. I'm also on TikTok. I do a lot of little stuff on TikTok. I've gone viral on TikTok a few times. And so just really, really want to build my voice and my brand and help give those skills to others.
Very cool. Sarah.
Advice I'd give to a student would be not to be fearful as you go into your life and as you go into the workplace. I remember being really scared as I was doing that. And I was like, how am I going to make money? And how am I going to be fulfilled? And all these things. And, it ends up working out. Just follow your nose. That would be my advice, really. And then, yeah, for those who want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Sarah Elizabeth Hill. You can view our website for Bobby Media, BOBI media.com. Shoot me an email. I'm around. Don't hesitate to contact me.
Daniela.
Advice I would give to students is to learn how to fully trust yourself. It doesn't matter what other people think. You're thinking about them more than they're thinking about you most of the time. So I am working on our 4th Tech Talent Summit in Phoenix, November 6th and 7th. We are inviting anyone who is interested in the world, interested in learning about what's happening in Phoenix. We're targeting around 1,000 attendees at the WebPT building downtown. This is going to be a modern career fair and a global pitch competition. So if you're a company that's hiring that wants to get involved, if you're a company that wants to help sponsor and help elevate our community, we welcome you. And we want to build the largest Arizona startup talent network. So you can find us at freewayphx.com. And then my IG is Scale with Purpose.
Love that. Eric?
Yeah, I think the advice I give kids right now is learn to be really good at thinking critically and to take yourself outside of the decision-making process. And because with all the technology coming in, Nancy, you write about this a lot with AI coming, especially, that's going to be the differentiator out there is can you take this onslaught of information and data and do something useful with it and kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. So I think that's gonna be huge. To reach me, if you search for me, you may find a serial killer. Eric Miller is a pretty common name. That's not me.
That's the Halloween episode.
Yeah, that's not me. Best way to find me is to go to millerphx.com. So that's MILLERPHX.com. And there you can find links to my LinkedIn and my social media, as well as my fiction writing and my nonfiction writing, as well as links to my company and all the organizations that I volunteer at and my 3 podcasts. So
All right.
check that
Nikki,
out.
you get the closing quote,
Okay.
which in PR is kind of a big deal.
So my advice would be to actually spend more time in the kitchen, whether that's with your family or siblings, parents, etc. I think going back to basics, and
Love that.
getting more of these fundamental life skills from the start will really benefit kids throughout their whole life, and also build their confidence from the start with some of these essential skills that they have developed.
Keeps them off of
Um,
screens.
and if you want to reach me, you can reach me at thecookiecups.com or pitchpeach.com.
Cool. And last but not least, obviously you've found a way to reach me because you're listening or watching this podcast, but you can also follow me on Instagram or Substack. My Instagram handle is nancyaf_, and my website is nancyaf.com. Adrian, what you said really resonated with me because after 55 years of working for other people, I decided to launch my own personal brand, which is the Nancy AF, which came about because I said Nancy AS, which are my initials, and the guy I told it to thought I said Nancy AF, and that's how my brand was born.
Love
So
that.
thank you
Love it.
all. If anyone who's listening or watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your content, is interested in being a guest, just reach out to me at nancyashenker@gmail.com. And if you would like to hear more from any of our Saltbox guests today, just also drop me a note or message me on Instagram, and I will then book them for a solo episode. So as I was explaining to some of our guests, in addition to being a fun format, this is also like my stealth way of auditioning guests who could carry a solo. And I will happily say that all of you would be amazing solo guests. So let me know if you would like to come back. And last but not least, remember, as you go through your daily work life and life, don't give a shit about how old somebody is. Think about what they know, how they can make you laugh, make you think, or make your life more fulfilling and richer. So be age blind and peace out.